From the floor of the CME Group, this is Danny Riley with today's Cash Close. And the name of this video, S&P 500 Futures and the year-end March, because that's exactly what's going on. The high of the day in the S&P came in at 2057.75 mid-afternoon. The low came in at 2041.75 early or after the open. And last, we're 2055 quarter. We're up 20.75 handles. Wow. Can you believe that? Total volume is super low. In fact, it's lower than I expected. It's under 1 million contracts and 2,000 big S&Ps traded in the pit. The MIM did a little bit of a MIM hoax. It showed like 200 million for sale, slipped to like 99 million for sale, and the actual MOC came out flat to small to sell. Tomorrow we've got the jobless claims number. We have the EIA natural gas report. We have a 3 and a 6 month T-bill announcement, a 2, 5, and a 7-year note announcement. We have the CME early close, and the Fed's balance sheet and money supply. Whoosh! Remember that? All right. So, anyways, so Santa Claus is giving the bears a little bit of a heartache. I expected they would. I don't want to rub this in anybody's face, but since Santa has come to town and the S&Ps have rallied, the ES made its 1995 quarter low on Monday. I talked about those 3 higher lows and how I thought they would lead to higher prices. And then since then, it's rallied 64 and a half handles up to, let's see, what did I say the day's high is? 2057.75, excuse me. Okay, so here's the deal. The volumes are really, really playing out here. Yesterday, I said that we'd get 1.1 million after the 1.3 million, and I thought today would be under a million. Well, we're going to get that. And tomorrow we're going to probably get even lower than that. It's only a half a day. The CME, the S&P, the bonds, the currencies, and the commodities all close at 12 o'clock Central Time. And the S&Ps close at 12:15, and the New York Stock Exchange cash closes at 12 o'clock. But look, I also mentioned, in addition to talking about how I thought that the thinner volumes would play out on the upside or favor the bulls, I also talked about how I thought that they would mark up energy companies at the end of the year. I did. If you look back, you'll see I talked about this. And I think that's been the main driver of this rally. Had they not had such a big rally in crude oil, I'm not quite sure that the S&Ps would have rallied this much. Now, where are we at now? If you look back on Twitter last Friday, I said that I thought by Thursday we could get back to 21 or 2070. And we're not far off that pace. I need another 10 or 12 handles on the upside. But you know what? It may be a tough 12 handles. Really, the level of trade here has slipped so much, you can actually feel it. And I talked about how some of these big hedge funds and big prop trading firms and investment firms would share, the desk guys would share time. So basically, I think a lot of this trade will be postponed until the beginning of next year. It's going to be a slow burn over the next week, and I think you got to be prepared for that. One of the things I did do, I went out on Twitter and I made warnings yesterday not to short the S&P, and I also said things like, don't get bored if you're not long and, get caught up in the selling. As I told the Pitbull, I think what happens here is, you're sitting in front of the machine, you're seeing the S&P come up, you see some selling come in or a resistance level, and you're like, yeah, you know what, maybe I can sell a few here. That's not the trade at all. Because what's happening is everybody's doing that, and when they do that, they put in a couple dollars stop, and then the algos chase those stops up, and in comes a buy program, and everybody gets squeezed out. So that's where we're at here. At the end of the day, Shai stock said 2068.75, the old high, 2080, the old high. Doesn't think we can break through there. I think that there could be a little bit of a pullback, and then I think that we could probably see that as we go into the end of the year and the beginning of next year. But it's been a struggle, and I got to admit that. Now, finally, 2 last things. 1, the Mr. Top Step end of the year S&P contest. You pick the price. I give you $1,000. Everybody could use $1,000. Please go to the website, look down at the bottom, or go to Twitter and sign up for that. Again, we don't give out anybody's emails or addresses. We don't do any of that stuff. We don't sell them, nothing. So you don't have to worry about us doing stuff like that. And then last but not least, I want to talk about the Santa Claus rally. I want to remind everybody, it's the last 5 days of the year and the first 2 days of the new year. So, I get this feeling with the way the S&P is going up, if crude dropped a buck or two, the S&P may go for that ride. If they do, that's where I think you can reload and get long again for this push up into the end of the year. It's going to be a slow one. I want to remind everybody, don't get bored and don't start selling this stuff just because you got nothing to do. We'll leave it like that. I want to wish everybody a Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas and happy holidays to those that are not a part of the Merry Christmas thing. But listen, it was a tough year. And at the end, there was a lot of big ups and downs, a lot of good big chop, and we're going to end up closing out unchanged. That doesn't say much for the way the markets have been acting. With that in mind, I'll see you guys tomorrow on the opening print.